This is my Coinbase stock technical analysis. Hey, it's Linus here. In this video, I'll be sharing with you whether should you buy Coinbase stock and my Coinbase stock forecast. We'll first take a quick overview of what Coinbase does as a company and its fundamentals, and then we'll move on to the technicals of Coinbase stock. So Coinbase is a cryptocurrency exchange platform. So that is where its customers buy and sell cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin and Ethereum. As a company, Coinbase generates almost 95% of its revenue from its transactions, and the remaining 5% being subscription and service revenue. And for Coinbase, if we take a look at its latest earnings results, revenue for Coinbase came in at $2.23 billion versus the $1.78 billion expected. And earnings per share was $3.45 versus the $2.33 expected. And if we take a look over here, the company's net profit for the quarter was $1.6 billion, up nearly 4,900% from a year earlier. And this increase in net profit was due to the increased adoption and trading of cryptocurrencies. And like mentioned earlier on, the company generated $2 billion in net revenue, right? So $1.9 billion in that revenue was due to the transaction revenue, and just $100 million was due to subscription and services revenue. So we see that a huge chunk of Coinbase revenue comes from its transactions. But even though Coinbase revenue and net profit was up, Coinbase stock still fell after earnings. And this might be due to the company's forward guidance, right? So we see over here, while the company offered no formal guidance, it did however mention that trading volume will be lower in the third quarter compared with the second quarter. And since a huge portion of Coinbase revenue comes from trading and transaction volume, the forward guidance provided by Coinbase is likely to indicate that third quarter revenue is likely to be down. And that is why when we take a look at the charts later on, you'll see that after earnings, Coinbase stock fell a bit. Okay, so that's a quick overview of what Coinbase does as a company and some of its earnings. Now let's take a look at the price chart for Coinbase. So Coinbase IPOed at an opening price of around $380, and it went up all the way to a price level of around $430 before it came crashing back down to a price level and closed at $327. So we see that Coinbase IPOed with a lot of hype, but it later came crashing down. And that is why I always avoid stocks on their IPO day. And you can see that from the high of around $430 all the way to the low over here, Coinbase stock declined by around 50%. And you can see that on the opening day, there was huge selling volume. So this selling volume is likely to be from the institutions that got in even before the IPO. And then once Coinbase IPOed, these institutions sell their shares. And that is why we see a huge selling volume over here, and then prices decline from its peak over here to the bottom over here by almost 50%. And since its IPO day in 14 April, Coinbase stock hasn't reached back its previous high and is now forming a long-term base. After the initial huge decline of about 50%, we see that the subsequent contraction in prices for Coinbase stock has been lower. So if we take a look at the next contraction from this point over here to this point over here, the second contraction is at around 18%. And we take a look at the next contraction over here to over here, the contraction has also been 18%. So we see that price contraction in the base that Coinbase is forming has been gradually lower. And this smaller contraction in prices in the base that Coinbase is forming is good news and good sign for Coinbase stock. And the reason is this: with smaller price contraction, it means that supply is coming at a slower pace for Coinbase stock. And because prices are driven by demand and supply, as supply dries up, just a bit of demand can push stock price higher. And that is what I'm seeing for Coinbase stock. So if we take a look at Coinbase stock right now, there's a bit of resistance at this price level of around $282. And if Coinbase stock is able to break above this resistance, then the next resistance will be at this price level of around $308. Ideally, I would like to see prices decline at this price level and then correct no more than 10% around over here. And after it declines by no more than 10% over here, it tightens up over here before it goes up. So should you buy Coinbase stock right now? For me personally, I wouldn't buy Coinbase stock right now. As mentioned, I would like to see prices break above this resistance level at around $280, and then it hits the next resistance, and then it contracts by no more than 10% over here before it tightens up over at the right side and then break out from here. And then I'll buy this breakout over here. That's my technical analysis for Coinbase stock. Hopefully you have enjoyed and learned something from this video. If you did, smash the like button because it will really help the channel grow and allow me to produce more content such as this. And if you are new to this channel and haven't already subscribed, make sure you subscribe to my channel because each week I release 2 new videos about investing, trading, and the stock market. I'll see you in those other videos. To your financial success.